So can anyone hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Can you see me too?
Yes.
I can see you.
Oh, you can. Hi. Hi, everyone. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I'm going to mute everyone for just a second. I did not have my earbuds on, but now I do. And okay. All right, mute all. Just for a second, just so the thing is, the line is clear. So hi, I've been so excited. Did anyone not sleep last night? Just me? I was so excited for today. It's very rare that I don't sleep, and I didn't at all. I was so excited. So welcome. Thank you guys all so much for being here. What a huge honor to get to meet you and connect with you. And I was doing a little yoga just before we began. You can see my mat right there, just getting grounded for our time together tonight. And so the first thing to know is that you're not quizzed on anything today. Today is totally just about going over everything in detail. We're going to go over the syllabus. We are going to go over what leading the meditation is and student teacher, like everything. We're just going to cover everything. And if we have time, we'll also go over maybe the first video that's in the training. But don't stress, because there's nothing you needed to have prepared for today at all, except maybe just to have watched the first video. And I know some of you have maybe watched far beyond that. And we are all going to get a chance to talk and interact. But first, we always open every call with a meditation to just kind of ground our energy and get centered. So what's really cool is that moving forward, you guys are going to be leading the meditations as a form of practicing and teaching. And again, we'll explain what that means. But for today and this first week, myself and the TAs who you already got to meet and their awesome Facebook Live are going to be leading it. So let's take a moment to just get comfortable wherever we're sitting. And find your two sitting bones connected to your chair or the ground or whatever you're sitting on. Let yourself emerge into a nice tall spine, and then let your head drift back in space. And then maybe let your torso drift a little forward in space, and just see if you can sort of navigate yourself into this line where the crown of head is really emerging directly above your two sitting bones, tailbone to crown of head, nice and long. And then exhale all the breath out of the body through the mouth, just a big sigh out. And then take a huge deep breath in, filling the belly, the ribs, the chest with breath. The torso gets wider, longer. And then exhale through the nose or mouth, just whatever's comfortable for you. You can make it an audible sigh. 2 more breaths like that, just inhaling. Feeling the torso get bigger, getting more physically present in your body, and then exhaling, nose or mouth. Last time like this. The in-breath lengthens you, broadens the torso, fill up with breath. Maybe seal the lips this time. Full, complete exhale through the nose. Maybe pelvic floor lifts, maybe navel pulls back. Just get all the breath out of the body. And then keeping your eyes closed, just take your right palm and then your left palm on top to your heart. And with the palms pressing into the heart space, just call in something that you are so grateful for. And know deep in your heart that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. I know that committing to a training like this, with time commitment, financial commitment, it is not a big deal. It's probably a lot of decision making back and forth, and you decided and you're here. And I just want you to honor yourself and be so proud that you're pursuing this path, that you're showing up. Even if you're watching this on the replay, you're showing up for this very first session. Yoga is teaching us about how everything is exactly as it should be. Just take 2 more breaths, deep breaths here. You should really feel the chest, lifting your palms. You breathe in and your collarbones descending as you breathe out. And just feel this gratitude for yourself, for your commitment. If you're here, like, you are an action taker, and as I said, I know it's not easy. One more deep breath, just deeply honoring yourself. All the prep work that it took to get to this moment. And when you're ready, exhale completely. Bring your hands to prayer now in Anjali Mudra, so thumbs press into the sternal notch, maybe elbows flare wide. Deep breath in and out. And once more, all together, connecting all our energy, inhaling fully, deeply. Exhaling all the way. The palms release, dip the chin. Slowly blink your eyes open. Take in your palms or feet or chair. And then slowly come back to the screen with no rush. Just notice how you feel. Awesome. Great job, you guys. Okay, so that's an example of an opening meditation. We're going to go into more about how you guys will be leading them and how all of that's going to work. Before we go into, there's a lot of kind of like admin tech overhead we have to cover tonight, but then we're also going to hopefully dive into a little bit of the material. But before we do that, if Monday is your regular call time, I think we probably have people who are on this call because they're excited and it's the first call, which is awesome, but who didn't sign up for Monday as like their regular slot. But if Monday is your regular slot, you are part of class Carriedwin. So I pull cards for each class of YTT, and this is the card for Monday, and this is the goddess of death and rebirth, basically. So this is really appropriate. It's a little bit of a dark card in a way, but it's also really appropriate because this is about new beginnings, right? Like, this training is going to challenge you. And it's going to maybe cause you to question things that you thought were true, maybe in anatomy or maybe in your poses or maybe in your life, who knows? But you're going to come out of this transformed in some way, shape, or form, that I can assure you. So this idea of just kind of being open-minded to new concepts and being willing to let old concepts go. A lot of how you practice personally right now is probably going to change. A lot of things that you maybe thought were working or thought were true might get flipped on their head. So just be excited and willing. And then I really love the cauldron because I really think of it, it's like we're all, as weird as it sounds, it's like we're just jumping into this giant pot together. And, we're like getting mixed up. We're going to mix, we're going to share ideas. I always learn so much from all of you every time I run these trainings. And I'm so looking forward to it. And yeah, we're just going to get into a big soupy experience with each other. So that is a little bit about Carriedwin. You can, read more about her, and I can also post more in the Facebook group if you guys are interested. But just know that she's sort of like your YTT class mascot. Woohoo! Okay, so towards the end of the call, I'm going to break you guys into groups. I'm going to jump around in all the groups. You're all going to get to introduce yourselves and talk and chat. But for now, we're just going to go over a bunch of housekeeping items because there's a lot we need to cover. But first, we'll play a game. Games are fun. Okay, so you've already passed the first test in the game, which is that you made it to the live call, right? You're here, you're watching, you're online. So, point number 1, you're here. The next thing we're going to do is, and this is going to be loud, but it's really interesting. Like, I feel like every time I've run a training, the training group has an energy. And like, you guys are partiers. I just feel it. Like, I just feel like you guys are awesome. And so, like every group just has this unique energy. Like the TAs and I talk about this, and like, you guys are just rock stars. Like I'm so excited for this training class. So what I was going to say is you guys aren't going to mind if it's a little bit loud and you can handle it. So the first game we're going to play together is I want you all to mute and unmute yourself. See if you can figure out how to do that on Zoom. So it's really important. Again, right now, today, I'm going to do most of the talking, but that's not how it's going to be on your average call. Yep. So unmute and mute. So basically, if you look on the lower left of your screen, so I think it's there for you, there should be a microphone. Just unmute and mute. So I'm going to put everyone back on mute in a minute, but I just make sure people have an idea of how to do that. I just muted everyone again. Okay. So again, if this is something you're having trouble with, you can just let us know in the Facebook group later, but hopefully thumbs up. People, and on mobile, it's a little different, but it's pretty intuitive. Okay, awesome. So everyone has 2 points in the game now. Okay, point number 3.
Not everyone's
favorite. Oh, put your favorite yoga pose in the chat. Put your favorite yoga pose in the chat. So there's a chat box that we use a lot throughout training. Again, we're going to get really familiar with each other on these calls, and you'll be able to mute and unmute and raise your hand as well. I'll show that in a minute, but for now, just see that you can also find the chat box. And we're going to see, lots of pigeons. Lots of pigeons. I'm seeing that right away. Child's pose. Nice. Forward fold, tree pose, camel, king pigeon. Goodness. Okay, gold stars. Is anyone having trouble finding the chat box? If so, unmute yourself and let us know. Hopefully everyone is good. Okay. Downward facing dog, crow, camel. Ooh, that's awesome. Lots of shavasanas. I dig that. Okay, great. So chat box, really important. We're going to use it in all the calls. Okay. Next gold star. This one's hard. Raise your hand and then lower your hand. Okay. So, well, everyone's like, okay, that works too. That's not what I meant. What I meant is on Zoom, there is a way to raise and lower your hand. And this is where I always get confused because as an admin, it doesn't let me see. Okay, Raymond just did it. Good job, Raymond. So did Stephanie. Good job. Do one of you want to explain how you're doing this to the rest of the group?
I exited full screen to get mine. I'm on a laptop. So I exited and it popped right up on the right.
Okay.
So on mobile, it's down on the opposite side of where the muting is. You hit more, and in the more, it's one of the options.
Awesome. Yeah, I see a lot of hands going up and down. So guys, just take a minute.
You have to make sure you press participants if you're on a computer first, because if you just see the chat and not like the list of names of everybody on the class, you won't see the hand raise. So you have to make sure you click the participants at the bottom of the page, and then you'll see where we have new features now, Brett.
Well, I just enabled polling. So we're going to do a poll in a minute. I'm like so excited.
Yeah, we have a thumbs up, thumbs down, hand clapping, a yes, no, click you can.
To the Zoom chat. We've never had emojis. It's like perfect that the emojis are like now available for this particular YPT class. Very exciting.
And if you just touch the screen and then hit more, it'll say raise hand. So if you're using an iPad.
Awesome. So I'm going to mute everyone, but I mean, you guys are just the best class. Okay, don't tell the other classes. But really, I mean, it's like you guys are already collaborating, sharing with each other, speaking up. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, awesome. So the hand raising is important just because you may find that there's times where you want to say something, but I'm talking about something or deep into the anatomy of something or an asana. So then it's really helpful because then I can kind of just see and know that I can unmute you later. Okay, perfect. So luckily you guys have already met Stephanie and Jen, who are, I think, both also on this call. Stephanie, I thought you were teaching tonight, but she is here. And if you guys missed their introduction, I would encourage you to go into the Facebook group and watch their little video that they did for you guys, which was really awesome. So you can kind of connect with them and learn more about them. And then I'm going to launch this poll right now, which I've never done before in my life on Zoom. So we'll just see what happens. But I would love it if you guys click yes if you knew who I was prior to signing up for training, and put no if you kind of found out who I was as you were investigating online teacher trainings and continuing education opportunities. And it's like not right or wrong. I'm always curious to know how much you already know about me, so I can do a little introduction. And I thought it'd be a cool way to test the poll feature, which seems like it works perfectly. Okay, so it looks like around 80% had no, and 25. Okay, so 75, 25. Yeah. So if you don't know who I am, just really quick, I am sitting in Berkeley, California right now. That's where I live. I teach yoga and meditation on YouTube. I run several podcasts, one called the Savannah Podcast. I've been teaching yoga for over 10 years, and yoga completely transformed my life. I'm yoga obsessed, and running this training is my favorite thing about everything I do in my business. It's such a joy, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm married. I have a little baby boy who's 10 months old, so he really keeps me on my toes. And you can practice with me for free on YouTube if you didn't already know that. And there's actually classes built into the syllabus. So I'm going to show you that in a second. If you want to practice, do classes related to what we're learning. So we've designed that all for you guys. But if you ever have questions about me or anything, just feel free to ask, especially if you're in the 24% who were not already familiar with me, because I really think of all of you now that we're in training together as family. Honestly, your success is my success. I want all of you to succeed, whatever success looks like for you. And I just want to make sure you feel connected. And yeah, so that's my little spiel about me. I'm going to end the poll, but it's cool to know that we have that as an option. Share results. Ooh, stop sharing. Okay, cool. So you guys can see. Cool. So we'll use this later in training. This is totally cool. Okay, so let's dive into the syllabus. And I just wanted to also share, if you feel overwhelmed looking at the syllabus, or if you felt overwhelmed with the course material, that's normal. Actually, let's use the poll again. Relaunching the poll will clear the existing poll results. Clear. Okay. How many of you guys have watched all of the videos that were available, and how many of you have only watched? So put yes if you've watched the first chunk of content that was released, and put no if you've watched the first one or two. You're kind of just, and either it's fine. You weren't expected to literally watch anything for this first call. I'm just kind of curious. Okay, it's like a 50-50 situation. Okay, very good, very good. We have our, hold on. I need to exit out of full screen. Exit full screen. Okay. All right, cool. So again, you weren't expected to do anything today, so no one panic. And I'm going to share my screen with you guys right now so we can look at the syllabus together. And I'll try to make this more interactive because again, it's really interesting. Some groups are really, really shy. I don't feel like you guys are the shy group. So we'll even try to make going through the syllabus more interactive. I feel like usually on the first call, everyone's so shy, and I'm just not getting that from you guys. Okay, so can everyone see my screen? Yes, okay, I see a nod, perfect. All right, so this training has 3 live call times, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. And hopefully you filled out this sheet. Whoops, nope, not that sheet. This sheet. This sheet, this is the sheet of questions that you guys have that we prepared. This sheet, and okay, if you can attend all the live calls, awesome. Please do. We just ask that you commit to being live once a week. And this is because we want to get to know you. Right? We don't want you to be anonymous. We want to get to know you, and we want you to bond with your classmates in that group. So that's why we ask you to pick a day, but that doesn't mean that you can't come to all of them. Does that make sense? So that's the first thing to know. How long are calls? Plan for calls to be 90 minutes in length. It's usually 60 minutes of us reviewing material, talking together, kind of learning. And then it's going to be 30 minutes of group work in your jettas. What's my regular call time? I think we're clear on that, hopefully, right? So it's the day that you're committing to coming once a week. What if you can't come because you're, traveling? Like, we get it. You guys have lives, right? We know, we understand. So, if you're going to a wedding, if, something happened with your family, we totally get it. Again, we're just asking for you to commit to a regular day. Because again, what's so unique about this training and differentiates it from everything else out there is that it's interactive, right? We really want you guys to bond as a group and for us to be able to create that sense of community together. Can I attend more than one live call a week? Yes, correct. Okay, how do I dial into a live call? I think we can skip that because we clearly are all here. You can join from your phone. You can test your connection. You don't have to have your camera on, but I'd really encourage you to so we can see your beautiful face. If you can't be fully present on a live call, I would just suggest watching the replay instead of kind of like being like half in. But again, we're all adults here. You can do whatever you want. And hold on, let me just make sure I have the chat open so I can see. And guys, you can throw questions in the chat as we go. And Janelle says, different material covered on different days. Yep, I'm going to explain how that works. Sit tight. Okay, so we release the videos in like sort of 2-week chunks, right? So you're always going to be able to watch up to 2 weeks ahead. And the reason for this is just because the amount of content in this training, it's a lot of content. And I've put a lot of hours of my life into really thinking about how to best organize the content. And again, what's so cool about, this format is in a lot of in-person trainings, it's like you have an anatomy expert and they're only available for, the weekend, and you do like intensive anatomy with them for 3 days straight. And then you do other stuff. But because of the unique format that we have, thanks to the internet, I really tried to blend in a way that I'm hoping is really going to be special for you, the anatomy and the philosophy, and then looking at those poses and just kind of really tying it all together. We kind of go from the outside in. So we start with the physical body and then we move more towards the subtle body and energetic body as we, go through the training. So basically trust that the videos are in a particular order, right? It's not random why you're seeing something at a certain time. Okay, hopefully you can all access your training videos. You should have got an email from VHX. If not, that's something you're going to want to reach out to a TA about. Okay, let's talk about replays. So as we'll see when we look at the syllabus, that we cover different material on different days. So that means that if Monday's your regular call time and you don't come Wednesday or Saturday, here we'll make it interactive. Would someone like to unmute? What are you supposed to do if you don't come live to Wednesday or Saturday? Before you come live again on Monday, what should you do? Or you can put it in the chat.
You should watch the replays.
Yes! Ding, 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 triple gold star. Watch the replays, right? So the replays are course material. So it's super, super, super important to watch the replay before you come on live again. Yeah, so we're going to show you exactly how you can do that. Is watching replays mandatory? What do you guys think? Yes or no in the chat? Yes, it's mandatory. Okay, cool. So, and I'm going to show you where you can see the replays, and it's so easy. So we'll show that in a minute. Okay, if you ever can't find your coursework, here's the handy dandy link for you, but I'm guessing probably a lot of you are watching it on your iPads and your phones. And there's a app, the VHX mobile app for iTunes and Android. If you're an Uplifted member, you can also access it through the Uplifted app, and you can download all the videos to your phone for offline viewing. So if you know you're going to be in an area where you don't have Wi-Fi or spotty service, download a bunch of course material to your phone, and you can listen and watch on the go. This is the beauty of modern technology, right? Okay, let's talk about jettas. So jettas are small groups, and you are going to meet in small groups at the end of every single live call, and ideally make lifelong friends, right? Crazier things have happened. We've had YTT students visit each other, and it's really cool. So That's why we really encourage you to come to your regular call time each week so that you can, again, bond with the people in the group. Okay, so what do you do during your Jetta time? Well, you're going to do a variety of things. Sometimes you'll be practice teaching one another. Sometimes you'll be doing studies and discussions in small groups. And sometimes you'll just simply check in. And that just means that you basically just share how you're doing and how you're feeling, right? Sometimes people get really overwhelmed with the amount of content in the training, and they have other stuff going on in their life as well. So it's just really an opportunity to share and connect with your fellow classmates. So if it's sort of a shared check-in type Jetta session, which it sometimes will be, and okay, great question, Aisha. I'll answer that in a second. Usually one person will take the lead and say like, who wants to check in first? And you just share how you're doing, like I said, and then the group listens, no one responds, each person shares. And then at the very, very end, you kind of open it up for discussion. So you guys can read and review this. Again, today, everyone's just going to be introducing themselves. So don't really worry about it. And then it's also a time in your Jettas to like think about questions you guys have. So if you have questions about something, you can put them in the Facebook group, or say like, our Jetta was confused about XYZ, so we can make sure to get your questions answered. I'm wondering if I can make this bigger for you guys. Hold on. Is this better? Better? Okay. So we have some tips for successful Jetta meetings. This is sort of like the number one tip for Zoom. If you're not talking, mute yourself. Make sure you're muted, right? And this is just because otherwise it can be hard to hear. There's static, there's background noise, there's interference, and also make sure we have a clear recording. So Aisha says, what happens in terms of Jettas if we are on a call that's on our regular call time? You just hang out with, we just assign you into a group, right? So you just get to hang out, meet some new people, or you can choose to leave the call early, right? And not participate in Jettas. So that's sort of how that works. And Lori says, are the Jettas assigned? So every time we run this course, we get tons of feedback, like I solicit tons of feedback. You guys will see, I'll harass you for feedback. And we've done it both ways, where we've had it assigned and unassigned. And what I've found works best is that they are unassigned, meaning you're gonna be, especially these first couple of calls, you're just gonna be in groups. And I don't want to say it's like totally random, but it's basically just so you can all get to know each other. And then what happens is, if you look in the chat right now, there's a way that you can send me a private message. So if you want, write something scandalous right now. No, but like drop down on the chat. And do you see how you can, on your chat box, it says, there's a drop down, it says everyone, or you can type in, I don't know if you type in Brett or you type in, hopefully there's like moderator, but you can send a chat message just to me privately. Shay just did it. Amanda just did it. Everyone try to do it. Just say, hi, Brett, or privately. So when I'm assigning the Jettas, once you guys kind of get to know each other, you can send me requests. Like, hey, I'd like to be with Abby, right? Or hey, I'd like to be with Ellen. And that's why no one's feelings get hurt, but like friendships do form, and people who want to be together can be together. So you just private message me as I'm assigning the groups. And that probably won't happen for quite a long time, because again, at the beginning, we just want you all to get involved and get to know each other. But that's sort of how that works. Oh, namaste. Okay, cool. Are Jetta meetings recorded? No. So Jettas are really like your private time to connect with your fellow classmates. And I mean, I do pop into them from time to time. So will the TAs, especially if you're doing practice teaching or something like that. But it's not part of the recording that your fellow classmates might see later. It's supposed to be a safe, confidential space. So just so you know, if you miss a Jetta meeting, you'll just catch the next one, right? Can we continue to talk on our Jetta even after the official call time is over? Yes, for as long as it's feasible, right? Sometimes I have to turn off my computer or go somewhere, and I always give you guys a warning. Okay, this is a big one. Photographing yourself for asana review. So we're gonna go through the syllabus in a minute. I'm just plowing through. Hopefully I'm keeping it entertaining best I can. But you're gonna see that we have this little adorable camera emoji, and that means that we're reviewing. I'm so happy to see Renee that and Isabel says maybe connect with someone after the call and play with options mobile to mobile. But yeah, we encourage you guys to connect. right? Like Facebook Messenger now does everything. It's like a phone and a TV, and I mean, you guys can connect through there. You can exchange emails with each other. And, you know, me and the TAs in the Facebook group will do everything we can to support you guys in connecting with each other. Okay, so a really, again, I think really cool feature of this course and what makes it so interactive is that we ask you guys to take photos of yourself in the yoga poses. Okay, so the first thing I want to say about this is not about doing your poses perfectly, right? So this is not about that. In fact, I'd really appreciate it if you could be as authentic as possible. And instead of trying to be like perfect in all the pictures, actually, if you could modify or if you could just do it the way you normally do it, that's actually more beneficial to you and the group. Because if your pose looks really good, we're basically not going to look at you. We're just going to be like, okay, they're good. Like, we're going to pick photos to look at together, and you're going to be picking and looking at each other's photos. The ones that you think we need to work on, where we see like a common misalignment or something that if you're the teacher, you would want to change or fix. And this is really important that we establish right now that no one is being judged on these calls. We all have very different bodies. We all have very different body types. As a yoga teacher, as you go out and start teaching, you're going to come across people of all shapes and sizes. So this, again, this isn't about judgy. This is about learning like how we can teach to the person physically in front of us, right? Whether it's in a photo or on the practice calls or later in real life. So don't try to, you know, like, don't retouch your photos, don't airbrush them, don't try to be perfect, don't read the manual and then try to, like, just be yourself. And I think it's important that we all just agree right now, like when we're talking about you in a pose or a body, like we're just talking about your anatomical form, right? It's not a reflection on you personally. Like, we're all here to learn together. And I don't think we've ever had a situation on any YTT call ever where anyone ever felt offended or uncomfortable being looked at in live poses. I mean, it was very clear that that was a part of this training. So just know that, like, this is a safe space, okay? So, so that being said, you're gonna take these photos, just be real, right? Use props, be yourself, be real. Don't try to make it perfect. And then really important, you want to name your photos, first name, last initial Sanskrit pose name. And you don't have to worry so much about the Sanskrit spelling, so don't stress. I'm not going to judge you if the pose name is not written in perfect Sanskrit, but we are going to try to use Sanskrit together as much as we can throughout this training. And this is for a couple of reasons. A, because, you know, it's your training's the place to practice Sanskrit, right? You're not going to really get that much opportunity in your daily life outside this training. And the big reason that I'm a big fan of using the Sanskrit pose names or trying to get you guys familiar with them is because yoga it's so amazing. I mean, yoga has become so broad. I mean, it's taught in gyms and all over the world. I mean, there's acrobatics that's called yoga. There's so many different styles. There's so many different names that people use for different postures. I'm trying to think of a good example. Okay. For example, some people call low lunge, like, I won't do it, but for some people, low lunge is lunge with the back leg straight. For others people, that's called runner's lunge, right? Some people call low lunge with the back knee on the floor. Some people call that crescent, right? By some people, I mean like different studios, different schools. Mountain pose, Tadasana, is super important, but Core Power, which is one of the largest yoga chains in the US, they call mountain pose Urdhva Hastasana, which is actually with your arms above your head. So it's really, really confusing. So in this world where yoga's spread, which is so wonderful, and people are calling different poses so many different things in the English language, which again is wonderful, but amongst us as like professionals now, as teachers, the Sanskrit is a source of truth, right? So if I say Vrikshasana, for example, we all know what that is, right? Because the Sanskrit just is the source of truth. Does this make sense to everyone? Can I get some nods or yeses in the chat? So it's not about, because I don't even necessarily encourage you use a lot of Sanskrit words with your students. That'll be a decision you'll get to make when you go out there and start teaching, how much of that you want to incorporate or not. But it's really important, I think, for us as professionals to have that common vocabulary, because otherwise it's just like I say crescent and she says moon and, someone else says low lunge, and it just, it gives us a source of truth. Yeah, like using the Latin names for plants rather than the common names, says Micah, 100%. And it's just like how you'll see when we study anatomy and we study the bones, there's a lot of Latin, terminology in there too. Okay, so very important to, oh, Aisha, I love you. You're just like prompting me with exactly what I want to say next. Before we get there, very important to name your pose. Right? Because otherwise I get to know you all throughout the training, but it really helps me learn your names and otherwise. So first name, last initial. And here are some beautiful examples. Brett, L _ Trigonasana, Stephanie, T _ Balasana. Yeah. And again, this is about helping you learn the Sanskrit names, right? So again, it's not like you're expected in this training to know the Sanskrit names. It's like, I'm trying to help you through the training by doing this. Okay, so no pressure. You don't have to have anything memorized. You don't need to know anything up front. Okay, so we're going to dive into Aisha's question when we get a little bit more into the syllabus. But once you have your poses named, you're going to want to put them in the correct folder in this Google Drive folder. And Stephanie has videos, or there's videos in the syllabus on exactly how to do this, how to do it from your phone, how to do it from your computer. So there are a couple approaches, and see, we already have some amazing overachievers who have put their pose here with the perfect format. So Emily, Jen, Aisha, Amanda, you get triple gold stars, extra Shavasana rubs. And this is the next thing I wanted to share with you guys, is that there's sort of two approaches to how you can do this. And we'll talk about this when we go through the syllabus. There's a lot of tips on how to photograph yourself here, guys. So again, Stephanie's done an amazing job putting so much of this together and some example pictures. Again, it's okay if your dog and your baby and folks are in the photo. We want to be able to clearly see you, right? So, obviously only wear what you're comfortable with, but the more you can wear clothes that are somewhat form-fitting, right, the better that's going to serve everyone in this training, because we're trying to look at bodies together. We're trying to look at your anatomical form, right? So if you're wearing, I don't know, like a bathrobe, it might be challenging. So it doesn't need to be pretty or formal. We just really want to be able to see you clearly, which means your feet are in the frame, and we can see your whole body. And then there's some really optional helpful gear that you totally do not need, but some of this stuff is fun, like little clickers that help you take photos and wide angled lenses and stuff. All this stuff costs like less than 10, 20 bucks. So some of you may want to do a giant photo shoot and just take all your pose photos up front. It's a really great way to just get it out of the way. And then you're never stressed when you look at the syllabus and see that there's pose review coming up. So over a weekend, or maybe you have a friend in town who can help you, whatever, you just take them all now, do all your naming and upload it, and you're done. Others of you might want to, do it as you go, and that's fine. But if it were me, I'd just get it over with, right? Because that way you're always prepped. Because what we ask, as Aisha said, is that you always need your poses in 48 hours prior to a live call. That's because me and the student teachers need to review them, right? So you can't upload your pose last minute, or you can, but you won't receive feedback on it, right? You won't be included in the discussion. So if you're going to do it, and again, we'll look at the syllabus and I'll make this very clear, you want to make sure it's 48 hours before. But that's why I just be like, have a giant photo shoot, and then you just don't even have to worry about it. And Janelle asked a great question. Is there a list of all the poses in one spot that I can see? Yes, there is. And I will show it to you guys in the manual. But it is right here. So you see where it says table of, hold on, I'm gonna make myself big again. Actually, can someone just remind me to do this later? Because I don't wanna have to switch the screen twice. Okay, so student teachers, oh my gosh, we're doing good. We're doing really well on time, you guys. So, so Seville said she's still recovering from an injury. There's certain poses I still can't do. Wonderful. Not wonderful that you're injured, but you can, okay, if a pose is completely unsafe for you to do, obviously you can skip it, but almost every pose you can modify, right? And we're going to learn about modifications as we go through the training. So if you can't do ankle to knee, like, is there a different stretch you could do to stretch your hips, right? Maybe it's standing forward fold. Let's stand on my chair. Standing forward fold with one knee bent and one arm down, right? Like this outer hip stretch, right? So you guys can get creative. You know, don't everyone go wild, but like, for example, if you don't do headstand, you could, let's start, like what's a pose that you could post instead of headstand if you don't do headstand? What's a similar inversion where the heart is over the head that people can do instead of, that would be like a good prep? Dolphin, yeah, totally. So it would be totally acceptable for you to upload a photo of you doing dolphin into the Sirsasana headstand folder. Does that make sense to everyone? So obviously if you can do the pose, please do, because you know, we want to have bodies to look at. Yeah, wide-legged forward fold would also work for sure. But if you need to modify, because again, that's what's so cool about this is we get to see a lot of bodies from real life, right? So, and you're going to teach real people out in the real world, and they're going to need modifications. That's why it's almost like the more you can, with these pose photos, sort of let go of trying to be perfect and try to instead just be yourself, so we can all have really good learning material. It sort of works better. Okay. So yeah, and Jen says, please modify. We learn a lot from one another that way. Really, we love it when you modify. And yeah. So you will see that you have been assigned a student teacher date. What does this mean? So if you have an O, it means that you are leading the opening meditation. That's what I just did. If you have a C next to your name, it means you're leading the closing meditation. And we'll go more into this in a moment. It also means if you're the student teacher, and again, we'll see this in the when we look at the syllabus, that you're also in charge of the material that day. So and that's gonna look different depending what we're doing on that call. So some of you might end up being student teachers on days when we're looking at a lot of asana, and that means that you're, you know, gonna be looking through your fellow trainees' pictures and helping me with guiding the discussion. Some of you might be the student teacher on a day where we're discussing the sutras, right? And if it's something like that, like material that's not looking at the poses, really you want to just bring like your top 3 takeaways from the material to share with your fellow classmates. So as if you were taking notes for yourself, it's like, what are the 3 most crucial things that you'd remember? And again, we'll look at the syllabus, it'll make more sense. And you're also in charge of, like, if I need to call on someone or anything like that, it's sort of like you need to be ready to speak up that day. Make sense? And what if you have a 2 in front of your student teacher date instead of an O or a C? I think that Jen Hall can answer that question. It might mean you're a bridge student. And actually that's a good moment while we have Jen let us know that oh, you know what it might mean, Tyra? It might mean that we have a couple calls. Oh, because we had so many people sign up for Monday. We have some study calls where, am I right on track?
Well, yeah, kind of. So all the study calls will have more than one opener and one closer. And what Jen and I discussed was that if you are a bridge student, you will be a closer that day. If you are so look in the syllabus. The syllabus will explain more if you're an opener or closer that day. So if there's 4 people on the class call, there'll be 2 opening meditations. There'll be 2 closing meditations for that. And the syllabus will explain if you're doing opening or closing that day. If you're a bridge student, expect to be the last meditation for that call. So that way we can, anyway, yeah, we'll explain it a little bit more in depth later. But
thank you, Stephanie. I was trying to find you so I could show your pretty face on the screen, but I couldn't find you.
Sorry.
It's okay. And I was going to ask everyone something, but now I forgot. Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing the screen. Okay. All right, okay. So really, 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 really important for the live call, whether you're opening or closing, you want to take note of your assigned date right away. So if you haven't done that, do that here. Take note now. This is what I was going to ask. Does someone want to unmute and tell us what are you supposed to do if you can't lead or be the student teacher on the date that you're assigned? Anyone want to tell us?
You're responsible to get someone to cover for you.
It's just like the real world when you're out there teaching yoga. We're teaching you early. You got to find a sub. You got to switch with someone, right? So it should be pretty easy. So excellent. Thank you. So take note of your date now. And if you need to switch, make sure you post in the Facebook group, or again, you're going to get connected with people in your call time over, tonight and over the next couple of days. So you'll be able to figure it out. If you're the student teacher, try to be on time or early to the live call, right? Try to check your audio. You want to make sure that you're audible. Good teachers always arrive ahead of their class, right? You want to practice what you want to say and maybe even write out what you want to say, especially if you're the tend to get nervous. Yeah. If you're the type who tends to get nervous, you're going to feel a lot more confident with a script or a plan in front of you. And then most importantly, you want to time your opening meditation. And I'm actually going to change this to 3 because it's really, 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 really hard to keep them short and sweet. And again, I would love to hear all your meditations all day and just lie in Shavasana, but then we wouldn't cover any training material. So it's not that I don't want to hear your beautiful meditations. It's just that we have to cover a lot of material on the calls. And then we have meditation study groups later, especially when we go into the module on how to teach meditation. We're going to get to practice long form meditation with each other a lot, like in partners and in small groups. So again, the opening and closing are really just like a mini meditation to just ground us in, or ground us out, and just an opportunity to sort of practice using your voice in a larger group, and an opportunity for us to get to know you and hear your voice. And I'm sure a lot of you are panicking because you're like, well, my meditation is scheduled before the meditation module. And again, this isn't about, there's no way to do the meditation module in like 3 minutes, like everything I teach in that module, right? Again, this is just about you practicing saying things out loud, right? And you're not being like judged, and there's no way to fail or do it wrong. So yeah, breathe. Everyone on the call supports you and excited to hear your beautiful voice. Yes. Okay. So if you're the student teacher, we're going to talk about this more, but 3 takeaways and 3 pose pictures to teach. So if you're the student teacher on like a Yoga Sutras type call, or like, anatomy video, like there's no asana, you're going to have your 3 key takeaways prepared to share with the group. So you want to be prepared to speak. I will call on you if you're the student teacher. If you're the student teacher on a day where there's asana, you're also going to want to pick 3 pose pictures to teach, meaning you're going to look at your fellow classmates and pick out 3 pose photos that you would like to correct their alignment. Again, correct in quotes, right? Where you want to practice cueing what you would say to help them come into a safer form with more ease. And we're going to, go over what is correct alignment. We have a whole video on that. So again, if you're a student teacher, you have a little extra prep work to do. Okay, and now we're finally here at the syllabus, and we're almost through all the housekeeping activities. So you'll see that there's little hyperlinked. So just in case you don't note your date, we also put it in the syllabus for you. You will see that you are the opener or the closer. It sounds like baseball. It's like opener, closer thing. So the TAs are going to be filling this out, so you'll know the opening, closing. So they are both the student teacher, right? Like student teacher and leading the opening meditation are the same thing, right? The opening or the closing. So let's do a little quiz. In this situation, for Monday, what poses would you need to have? Okay, we see what poses we're covering on this call, right? So what day would be the latest that you could put your poses in the folder? This call is on Monday, August 27th. Saturday, right? Make sense? So the way this syllabus works, everyone, is that what's listed is what we're covering that day. Very important. So it's not what's assigned, right? So it's Monday, August 20th. What we're doing today is the guidelines, the syllabus overview. We're hopefully going to get to this, and jettas. On Wednesday, we're going over A.1.1, A.1.2, and B.1.1 and B.1.2. So would you want to have these videos already watched by Wednesday? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, so makes sense. Because like some syllabuses are like assigning you things. That's not how this one works. What's listed is what we're covering. So you want to come prepared to talk about this material, okay? Let's use these beautiful ladies as an example. So Abigail and Jamie are the student teachers for Monday, August 27th. So what are they going to want to prepare as the student teachers? And this is a great example because it's a little complicated because this call, we're covering both material and yoga postures, both. So I'll answer because it's a little tricky. They're going to want to pick 3 poses that they want to kind of teach to. So they're going to pick 3 people they want to teach out of all of these folders. Okay, so they can pick more if they want, but they're going to pick 3 that they especially want to teach to. Okay, so they don't have to pick 3 from Ekapada and 3 from Dvipada and 3 from ankle to knee. They definitely can. You can, but I do 1 from each, right? Or if there were 5 poses, just pick 3 from 3 of the 5 folders. Make sense? And then they're going to want to have 3 key takeaways from all of these videos, right? So you don't have to have 3 key takeaways for this one and this one and this one and this one. Again, if you do, that's beautiful, but that's not what I'm expecting. And this is because the goal here is to help your fellow classmates synthesize what do you think is the most important thing to remember. It's almost like we're doing exam review from the get-go, right? Because these videos contain a lot of detail, but as we move through and you kind of see what we're really focused on, right, which is usually student safety and modifications and that kind of things, like practical things that are going to help you teach in the real world. It's kind of like, what are the big things that you would think you'd want to tell your classmates to remember after watching these 4 videos? Make sense? Awesome. Okay. You'll also see that there's these little like suggested thingies throughout the syllabus. And these are totally optional. That's why it's called suggested. But basically, again, because we solicit feedback every single time we do this, really quickly, like after the first round of YTT years ago, it came up that people were like, oh, it'd be really cool if there were like suggested videos, like practice videos that were related to the coursework, so we could do our personal practice and have it be related to the coursework in some way. So that is what this is. So Ekapada Rajakapatasana, which is Sanskrit for pigeon pose, we're suggesting that if you want to do an asana practice that sort of features pigeon and talks about it in an interesting way, we're suggesting you do this class. Make sense? You don't have to, But if you're getting on your mat anyway, and you know, you want to dive deep and go into YTT, it's just there as a resource for you, right? And then your TAs are amazing. They've like made study questions for you for certain stuff. So sometimes you'll just see the syllabus links out to other documents that are there as a reference for you. If you're orange, you're a bridge student. Bridge students are always orange. A lot of times people ask, what's the difference between bridge and YTT? Bridge are students who have already done their 200-hour teacher training. So they're taking this as like a enhancement, continuing education. For bridge students, it's like you're not required to be live once a week. Would love you to be live once a week, but it's not like it is for YTT, where we're really looking for you to commit to a certain day. If I were a bridge student taking this course, I would commit to a certain day and I would show up and get the most I could out of this experience. But for bridge, it's kind of like you're auditing, right? Another big difference between bridge and YTT, one of the only other differences, is bridge students, you're not required to take the final exam. I would definitely encourage you to take the final exam. I think it's a really awesome way to test your learning. And another big difference is bridge students don't submit a final practicum to me. So if you're a YTT student, you're going to be doing a little demo video, which we'll talk about much later on in order to graduate. Bridge students don't do that. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. Any questions about the syllabus, bridge YTT? I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I am all ears for questions now, because I think most of the things, okay, so Aisha sent to me privately. I don't think she intended to, so that's another thing to do, is make sure you stop share, that you don't message me privately unless it's, and I also see 7 students with raised hands, but I don't know if that's from before when we were practicing raising our hands, or if that's new. Since I think we might have a lot of questions, maybe put them in the chat. So Aisha says, when it comes to the books, A Path with Heart and Inside the Yoga Sutras, is there a set reading schedule, or is it left to us? Okay, great question, Aisha. On the syllabus, it says we should be able to tell your favorite quote from A Path with Heart on October 17th. So, yes, the ideal, this is why we give you the reading list early and tell you to get started early, is that when the call comes to discuss A Path with Heart, which is October 17th, ideally you've read A Path with Heart, right? So we're not telling you like read page 30 to 50 at this time and 50 to, so, if you're only two-thirds way through the book or halfway through the book, right? It's like, do the best you can. But remember, the syllabus, what's listed that day is what we're covering. So if Path with Heart is there, you want to have read A Path with Heart. Okay. Stephanie, thank you for reminding me to show the pose list in the book. Okay, so if you want to get glammed up, do a photo shoot, this is your, this is where you're going to want to go. Table of contents, and you're going to see all the poses here and here. And for some of them, a video, I think mainly it's Surya Namaskar and Chaturanga. Short, if you can keep the video short, also because like if your video is not short, it sometimes doesn't play well on Zoom. And so, for certain things, videos make sense. Just make sure to edit and keep your video short if you're going to submit a video. And for Surya Namaskar, we ask you to submit a short video. Okay. So Esther says, and I saw Amanda's question too, a few rounds ago, you had an in-person practicum workshop backed up a book. Barnes workshop, is that happening again anytime soon? So thank you, Esther. If you want to come to one of the Uplifted Yoga Masterminds, is what they're called now. It's like a long weekend workshop where we get to do in person and talk a lot more about business strategy, and it's really, really cool. If you know that you're coming to one of those and you want to do your practicum in person with me then, instead of submitting a video, you can do that. So just know that that is an option. Esther, I don't know. I would love to do one backed up against the Barnes workshop. There's not one slated right now, but it's definitely always on my mind when I'm scheduling things. Okay, I'm going to back up for a second. So Amanda says, what if you were newer to the area and don't have someone willing to be taught in your practicum video? So this has come up with people before, and you're really not going to like my answer, Amanda, so I apologize in advance. But my answer is you have to find someone. I know. But that's part of being a teacher, right? You have to find job. You have to do things that are uncomfortable. You have to ask someone you don't know that well, right? Like a lot of what I'm going to be doing in this is encouraging you guys to get out of your comfort zone. So I completely understand. Here's the thing. The person you teach doesn't have to be great at yoga. It could be your mom. It could be your dad. It could be a lot of, people have done like their teenage kids who like totally do not want to be doing it, right? Like it can be anyone, but it has to be a human person. So I totally empathize with your situation, but I'm going to encourage you to like be bold, and you're going to find someone, right? Who knows? Maybe there's even a YTTer who's in your area who you guys could swap. So yeah, that's the answer to that one. Dee, for the student teacher date for bridge students, the number instead of O/C, what does that mean again? That means that the call that you happen to be assigned to is a study group call. So it's just talking about the order that you guys are going to go in, right? Make sense? So that I think means you're going to be second in the meditation study call to go. Okay,
Brett,
Allie.
I have somebody ask me something privately that I think you should answer. They have an injury. They cannot externally rotate an abduct and not stretch the hamstring on the left leg. I think they're just wondering about pose pictures and how to handle that.
Just do the best you can. Just do the best you can. That's all we can ask, right? You're not going to fail the course because you have an injury and can't post certain pictures. That's not what this is about, right? So only do what you're comfortable doing and do modifications best you can. And if you have to abstain from some, I totally understand.
Yeah, and maybe if they want to reach out to me or something, we can, with a list of poses that you can't do, maybe Jen and I can get together and help figure out how to modify them for the pictures the best you can. And then maybe it'll be a great learning experience for the whole entire class for somebody who comes in with an injury. So, I mean, I always encourage people, to do that. Jen and I are open to help you guys in any way we can. So that would be a great way to, us all to work together.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Great question. Thank you, Stephanie. Great question from Allie from the UK, who I got to meet in person, I believe. Yes. In Amsterdam, which was so amazing at a workshop I did there. So she says, what happens if we get behind and need an extension? How do we handle that? And if we fail the test or practicum, can we reset? Okay. So these are two great questions. So again, my role and my job as I see it is to get you guys into action and to hopefully help you graduate in the 16, 18 weeks that we're doing this training together. That's my goal for every single one of you. So I'm always going to be pushing for that. If that's not on the cards for you, you have stuff going on, something happened, you have access to this training material forever. It's not going away. As long as the internet's here and I'm here, you're going to have access to it. Okay, so that's the first thing to know. The really important thing to know is that if you miss your deadline for submitting your practicum, your video, and to take the exam. So there's deadlines, you can see them at the end of the syllabus. So we say, please take your exam by this date, please submit your practicum video by this date, okay? If you miss those, what we ask is that then you take them, you submit them with the following class, which could be several months later. Does that make sense? So, and the reason for this is just because, we're a small team. We really want to support you guys. But what happens is like when you guys are all graduating, we go into graduation mode, right? We're like looking at all your exams. We're like making sure that you attended and passed and that, that your practicum video is a pass, and we're emailing you your certificates, and we're like in that mode. Unfortunately, we're just not set up to handle like whenever you feel like it, like here's my practicum, here I took the exam, right? Like because we have a very specific workflow to get everyone to graduation. There's like a lot of boxes that you need to tick. And when we're in graduation mode, we're focused on like making sure everyone gets to that process. So you can defer, it's not an issue. Just know that what you need to do then is be proactive and stay in touch with Stephanie and Jen in the Facebook group. And again, we'll let you know, you tell us you defer, we write it on a sheet, and we'll let you know when the next opportunity to submit is. It just might be a couple months away. That makes sense? Okay. And then people don't fail the test. People have sometimes gotten like low scores, but most people do amazingly well, and you can retake it if, you know, it really comes to that. But honestly, like what we're looking for is, you know, do we know who you are? Have we seen you? Have we seen you on live calls? You know, do you have a respectable grasp of the material? And we kind of use the test to assess that. And what does your practicum look like, right? Where people start not passing is when their practicum's a disaster, their test is a disaster, and we like don't know who they are. Do you know what I mean? Like as long as you've got 2 of the 3 pretty strong and you're in contact with us, you know, everything's going to work out. Okay. So, we're not just going to be like, fail, goodbye, right? Again, we're committed to you succeeding. Okay. And yes, there's just one exam at the end, but again, your amazing TAs have created some quizzes for you throughout the program to kind of test your knowledge, and we have study sessions at the end. So yeah. Lori, how are you tracking all the hours? So basically everything that goes into your hours is the calls, the replays, all the reading that you're doing as well on the side, your homework, preparation for meditations, jettas. Jen tracks attendance. So, you know, we do notice if you like fall off the face of the earth. So, you know, just come to your regular call time and you'll be fine. Honestly, it's a lot honor system, right? We trust you guys. Okay. Esther says, can I schedule to take my practicum in person? Reach out to me. If there's an event in a venue where we can make it happen, definitely. Okay. I think we should switch to jettas. Beth says she has an injury. Okay, a question from Janelle. For the study group call, do we all have to be on? Okay, so study group calls are just as important as all the other calls. You review really critical material. A lot of the study group calls are set up like I've designed exactly what you guys talk about and do and what questions you answer. So I would really encourage you to get the most out of this training and attend the study group calls. They're not like optional calls, right? You're required to be live once a week. So great question, but definitely come. Lori, can you Skype teach or in person with one of your peers? Yes, we will be doing that. And Stephanie has some really amazing ideas about how we're enhancing that this round. So you guys will be teaching each other in smaller groups. Okay. Amanda, great question again. Can it be another style? Can it be any style of yoga for our practicum? Love it. I love it when on the first call we're getting the questions about graduation. It happens every year. It's great. It's great that you guys are focused and excited. So for the practicum, I ask that you teach a vinyasa or hatha based class, because this is a hatha vinyasa inspired training, right? So you can't teach Kundalini. You can't teach yin. You could incorporate a yin posture. You could incorporate some Kundalini breath work, but the idea is that you're demonstrating your knowledge of the material that you've learned here together in the training. So again, it could be a very, very easy vinyasa class if you're teaching your great uncle who's never done yoga before, right? It could just be inhale, lift your arms up, exhale, maybe a little twist, sitting on a chair. It could be cat-cow on the floor. But I mean, that's still vinyasa, hatha based yoga. Sunny says, is there a practicum video and an exam? Yes. So those are kind of the 2 things you need to do to graduate. You need to take the exam, submit your practicum, and then of course we're also looking, do we know who you are? Did you show up to live calls, right? And then those are kind of the 3 boxes that you need to tick. Is the test timed? No. Okay. Does the test cover? Okay, guys. Don't worry about the test. Don't worry about the test, please. We have so much time. This is just the beginning.
And you'll get a study guide at the end that Brett has asked. They're very thorough questions. The questions are there, and it's all there. You will all get it at the end of training. Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that in there. There is a study guide.
The exam is there for you to celebrate how much you've learned, right? It is not a judgment thing. Nothing is judgmental about this training in any capacity. Marnya, if I'm saying your name right, beautiful name. She says, if you need to change your regular call time to a different day due to a new commitment, is it okay to switch? Email or tag Jen Hall in the Facebook group. She's going to be the person to contact to every thing. Yeah, if you always know you're going to be a little late to a call, you know, that's fine. Just do your best. We're all dealing with like different time zones, families, commitments, right? All we ask is your best. And really, you know, this is for you, right? This is for you. And, you know, every year we have some people who kind of just end up auditing. Maybe they're a bridge student or maybe they're a YTT student and they don't really care about, you know, getting their diploma or taking the exam or any of that stuff. And if that's you, that's fine too, right? But I would hope that if you like made the investment in time to be here, like get the most you can out of it. Or, you know, I just want to support you however I can best do that. And to me, that means like encouraging you to take action and, you know, hand in everything on time, best you can. All right. We have 20 minutes left. I think we should split into jettas. I know more questions will come up, but you guys can ask questions in the Facebook group. And remember, this is just the beginning, the beautiful journey. I think because we went over a lot, we won't talk about the first video today. Yeah, because I want you guys to connect and chat with each other. I feel like I've been talking nonstop, which is just always the case on this very first call. Kristen, does anyone else want to scream with excitement? I'm totally with you. I am so excited. And yeah. Oh, one last question. Mirror dimension. Dude, Aisha, you are like just reminding me of everything. Okay, so we'll do one. It's funny because usually when I do this, I ask people, what is one of the things that I mentioned buying in the A.1 video? Does anyone want to put in the chat? She kind of already did, but anyone? So in the very first video, A.1, I suggest buying an item. Yeah, a mirror, a full length mirror. Yeah. So she asked mirror dimensions, just full length, just a full length mirror. Yeah, it'll really help you out. Okay, awesome. So what's gonna happen right now, if this is not your regular call time, you can drop off. Otherwise you can stay and party. Just kidding. I'm gonna divide you guys into your jettas. And I see a lot of hands raised. If they're raised unintentionally because you did not, if you have a question, just please put it in the chat, or you can unmute and ask right now as I divide you guys into your jettas. Okay, so what you're gonna do in your jettas, oh, very important, we need to go over that. What you're gonna do in your jettas is you're gonna take turns, you're gonna say your name. Maybe Stephanie or someone can type this in the chat. Your name, or I can if you're busy. Your name, where you're from, a little bit about you. Are you single, married? Do you have 5 kids? Do you live on a farm? What do you do for a living? Are you already a yoga teacher? No, just a little bit about you. What you're most excited about with training, what you're most nervous about, and then your favorite yoga pose. We kind of already covered that. And just whatever you're comfortable sharing, right? But again, because this training is so, I think, so fun and special and different, it's because like we get to see each other in each other's homes. And, you know, if you have kids, I'm gonna like see your kids in the photos, and it's really beautiful and it's really fun. So we love like getting to know you and for all of you to get to know each other. So I'm stopping the recording. Drop off if you are not joining for jettas or you don't want to be joining for jettas. And I am going to, this is pretty cool. You're going to auto magically go into little group rooms, and I will bounce around the rooms to say hi to you, and so will the TAs.
We have one quick question. Somebody asked about the sign up sheet. So if your name was not on the sheet when we closed the sheet 10 days ago, then Jen assigned you a day. If for some reason you can't come to Saturdays, be committed that day, that whole Saturday, every week, that's fine. With the way that everything is, we do ask that you try to commit to at least coming to that Saturday that you're assigned your student teacher day. But if you want to come on every Monday or every Wednesday, you're more than welcome to do that. It's just, otherwise you have to see if somebody can switch days with you for your student teacher day. I hope that makes sense. It's just that every single day is full. Every single day is full. And so if somebody is willing to, that is going to come on all the calls and you can switch with them, then great. But put in the Facebook group, or if you're not in Facebook, email me or email Jen. Our emails are in the syllabus and we can help you with that. But that's what I've been telling people who have been emailing in.
Yeah, and guys, also be ready, because you'd be surprised. There are people who don't show up. And we've had people in prior calls who like got to lead the meditation twice, or even like, you know, because people sometimes just don't show up. So if you want to practice, and get into action, which I encourage you do, like there will be multiple opportunities. Be ready. Always have a meditation in your back pocket, all right? Okay, off we go into jettas. If you need to drop off, no problem, drop off. Recording is now stopped. Jen, Stephanie and I are gonna go into the jettas to check in on you guys, and just so excited you guys are here and can't wait to get to know each and every one of you. Okay, stopping the recording.